In this video, we want to take a look at the homework exercises in ROS 36.7 in the dreaded C section. This is the reading from Jeremiah 4:23 through 26. Jeremiah 4:23 through 26. So what I want to do is have us read the text, and then we will work on translation and analyzing, parsing verbs, and making comments about some of the grammar and maybe the forms of the words. So let's start. Let me have you repeat after me. Verse 23. By the way, this is from the prophet Jeremiah, and he is looking at Israel and considering the sorry state of Israel from the standpoint of their sinfulness and the fact that they are going to be judged or have been judged in terms of his perspective in the prophecy. And we see a very interesting decreation theme here. We're going to see lots of allusions to the creation week, but not in the building of the cosmos, but rather Israel is being pictured as the cosmos coming unglued, coming undone, unraveling, disintegrating. Very interesting how Jeremiah does this. So let's read the text, and you can repeat after me. Ra'ithi et haaretz, v'henei tohu vabohu, v'el hashamayim, v'ein oram. Okay, so Ra'ithi here is a first person common singular ending for a perfect verb form. You can see the T ending here. That's clearly a perfect 1CS. Now with the comets under root 1, we have two of the root letters. This is clearly a cow perfect 1CS. I only see two root letters. This is from the verb ra'ah. It's a 3-hay verb. And as we've been going through 3-hay verbs, you know that when we add the consonantal endings, I get a helping vowel. In the cow perfect, it's a Keurig yod here. So ra'ithi, I ra'ad. What does ra'ah mean? I saw. What's interesting about this passage is that each of the verses we're going to look at, they all begin the same way with ra'ithi. Verse 24, ra'ithi. Verse 25, ra'ithi. And then verse 26, ra'ithi. So we see that this happens 4 times. This is a repetitive kind of prophetic statement. Now, what did I see? Ra'ithi et. Here's my direct object marker. And then, remember, we don't translate it. We go to the direct object, which is haaretz. So I saw the land. V'henei, and see, behold. This is a presentative particle. It introduces something that is to be paid special attention to, and that's what comes next. This is the expression tohu vabohu, and you are told by Ross that this is basically to be glossed as waste and void. The translations, like back in the King James Version, was formless and void. No form or chaos. Right? If you think about your dorm room and you don't do anything with it to straighten it up, it becomes chaos. There's no form, right? And bohu, empty, uninhabited, void. This is directly an allusion to the creation account, where before God forms everything into its perfect order, it's tohu vabohu. Here, the land of Israel is being described as tohu vabohu. So there's been disintegration here. Now, the next expression is v'el hashamayim, and to the heavens. Now here we have really just a part of a clause. We don't have a full clause by itself in terms of what we see. And what has to happen here is that this verb ra'ithi is to be understood and supplied over here. Okay, what we call this is gapping or ellipsis. There is a gap of the verb. The verb should be here. It's unstated but implied from the prior clause. So I saw the land, and behold, formless and void, meaning behold, it was that. And I saw or looked El Hashamayim, to the heavens, V'ein Oram. Ein is the opposite of Yesh. Ein and Yesh, remember they're pairs. Yesh, there is, there are. Ein is negative. There is not, there was not, are not. There was not what? What did he not see? What was absent? This is Oram. This ending is the third masculine plural pronominal suffix attached to the word or, which means light. So there was not their light, or their light wasn't there. What light? Well, the light of the heavens. Remember, God had put lights in the heavens, but because of the disintegration of the cosmos, as it were, this cosmic shakeup that God is going to bring about, it's going to be utter darkness. Okay, let's read verse 24, shall we? And repeat after me. Ra'ithi heharim, v'hanei roashim, v'chol hagvaot, hithkalkalu. All right. Let's walk through what this says. Ra'ithi heharim. Here's our same verb. I'm not going to parse it again. You know, that's the Cal Perfect 3ms of ra'ah. And then this is the direct object, heharim. This he prefix here is the article. Now remember, most of the time, the article is he pathak doubling dot. Here, I have a guttural, so I can't put a doubling dot there. Rejects the dagesh forte, right? And if you also remember, when I get rejection of the dagesh forte, I could have he pathak with nothing. I could have he segol with nothing. And this is the situation where I get the he segol. So, and I saw or looked at the harim. Har is mountain. That's masculine plural ending. At the mountains. V'hene ro ashim. Now here we have again the presentative particle hene, behold or see, and then ro ashim. Ro ashim. What is this? I see 3 potential root letters if this is a verb. And if this is a verb, my holum tells me that this is a participle with the eem masculine plural ending. So this is some kind of participle masculine plural. And that's the absolute masculine plural, isn't it? Which stem is this? Well, the only stem who has a participle with holum in root 1 is the cow participle. And my root letters then are what I see. Resh, ayin, shin. Ra'ash. What does ra'ash mean? It means quaking or shaking. Now, I don't have a subject of the clause that the participle here would be functioning as a predicate participle. In other words, what I would expect is a subject and then a verb in the form of a copula or a null copula, and then ro'ashim. Something like, and I looked to or saw the hills or mountains, and behold, they, unstated, were, unstated, shaking. Okay? So the subject and the copula are both null. They're unwritten but implied. So what else did he see? V'kol ha-gvaot, and all ha-gvaot. This again is my article. And gvaot, what's that? That is the that's the word for hills. And the hills, hithkalkalu. Hithkalkalu. Now I parsed this for you in the answer key. Now, what do we have here? This is the verb kalal, and it is in a rare stem that we have not covered and will not cover in Hebrew 1. It's something that you'll pick up in subsequent Hebrew courses if you continue to do Hebrew coursework. This is called a hithpal, and it's basically a kind of hithpael. All right? Do you see the hith prefix here? you see the shurik here indicates that this is a perfect 3CP. And this basically means to be shaken or to jolt back and forth or to and fro. So the hills basically shook to and fro, jolted back and forth. Pretty amazing sight to behold, I'm sure. Now verse 25. Let's read this. And repeat after me. Ra'ithi v'hene ein ha'adam v'chol of hashamayim nadadu. All right. So again, Ra'ithi, I saw, I looked, v'hene, and behold, a negative existential particle again. Something was not. What was not? What didn't exist or what wasn't present? Ha-adam. Man, mankind, people. All right. So this again is another allusion to the creation account. We had tohu vabohu and the lights being gone. God put the lights in the sky. Those have been dismissed. God made Adam on the seventh day, and now when he looks at the earth or the land, there is no man. There is no inhabitant. It's desolate. It's empty. Okay, so there was no man. V'kol of hashamayim, and every bird, so here's the word for bird, of the heaven. Okay, this is a construct chain. This is thing one. This is thing two. So every bird of the heaven. The word oaf here for bird or fowl could be a collective singular, so it might have a plural idea. It could be all the birds of heaven, and that makes sense because with nadadu we have a shurik on the back side of 3 verbal root letters. This is from nadad, and what are we looking at here? Cow perfect 3CP. This has the idea of to flee. Okay, so every bird of the heaven fled. Why is there a third common plural form if oaf is technically the subject? Well, because oaf is a collective singular, and that is to say that the collective notion has inherent with it plurality, right? A collective consists of a group of things. So that's nadad. And this is a segulate noun, by the way. All right. Now, let's look at verse 26. Ra'ithi v'hanei ha-karmel ha-midbar v'chol arav nitzavu mipnei Adonai mipnei haron apo. Okay, so again, we have Ra'ithi. Don't have to parse that again. You know that now. I saw. And behold, v'hene, ha-karmel, ha-midbar. This is a little bit difficult to analyze, but I do take this as a clause right here. I'll go ahead and underline it here. So I take this as a clause, but there's no verb. So what does that mean? It means that we have to supply a copula. Okay, so there's a null copula here. We need to supply is, are, was, or were. Because we're using the perfect, and this is him prophesying and reporting what he sees. Probably want to make this past tense. So what is ha-karmel? It is a fruitful place. So, but it's got the article here. So it's the fruitful place was ha-midbar, was the wilderness. That is to say, it had been a fruitful place, and now it has become a wilderness, or the wilderness. V'kol arav, and all the cities of, which pronoun is this? That's right, that's a 3ms pronominal suffix. The yod tells you that the noun that it's attached to is plural, so it's the plural things of him. Well, what is this? This is ear. Remember, the plural of ear is not earream, but arim. And then I drop the im and add the endings for the plural, the community pronouns that get added to plural nouns. So, and all his or its cities, nitsavu. Nitsavu. All its cities were what? Well, they were broken or torn down. What am I looking at here? Well, I have a noon. Okay, so this is susceptible to being a couple of things. When I have a noon up at the front of a possible verb form, it could be a first common plural noon, right? It could be a nifal noon, and it could be a root 1 noon. Those are my three possibilities. So let's take these in turn. If this is a first common plural prefix noon, then all of a sudden we are involved in the story. That doesn't really make very good sense here. This could be a nifal noon, and if it is, then I need to bracket it out as something that is a prefix that indicates the nifal stem, and then I have to go back and ask myself, if this is a nifal noon, where do I see the nifal noon prefix? Well, I definitely see it in the perfect. Where else do I see it? I could see it in the infinitive absolute. That's a possibility. And I can see it in the, in the participle. Okay? So those are my nifal noon prefix possibilities. What if it's a root 1 noon? Then I have to reckon with the fact that that noon's not a prefix, but it's part of the verbal root. And then I've got to look at the Keurig under it and the doubling dot and the tav, and I may suppose that that's a PL. Okay, so if this is a root 1 noon, then it looks like a PL perfect. Okay, if it's a nifal noon, then it's one of these three. What would be the verbal root? The verbal root looks like it's na tots. Okay, na tots. And so if this is a PL, then that's the root 1 noon from the tots. If it's a nifal, then the noon has been added, and this root 1 noon has assimilated and become a doubling dot inside the tav. So those are my possibilities here. What's the best way to go? Well, what you need to do is at this point look in the lexicon and find out, does this verb occur in the nifal stem? And if it does, what would its meaning be? And here we actually do have an appropriate nifal meaning for natats. It means to be broken down. Okay, so the subject is kol arav, all his cities, nitsavu, nifal perfect, third common plural. That's going to be my parsing here. Were broken down, were torn down. Mipnei Adonai, from the face of Yahweh. Okay, remember this is panim, which means face, and in the construct it becomes pnei. So the face of, it's always plural. So you don't need to make it plural in your English translation. It's plural in form, singular in idea. And from the face of Yahweh is to say from before him. Mipnei haron apo, from the fury of apo, his anger. So this is the word haron. This is the word af. And if you look at the vowel pointing, this long A has reduced. What's going on here? This is thing 1, thing 2. It's a construct chain. Okay, first noun's construct, second's the absolute form. And there's a 3ms pronoun here. So from the fury of his anger. Now, to speak of the fury of his anger is to use a superlative idea with this construct chain. It's to say something like, from before his burning anger or his burning fury. It kind of ups the ante. It's not just fury, but it's furious fury. Okay? So, God's judgment here.